This is the Content Marketing Podcast, episode number 182, 5 Tools for Spying on Your Competitors. Hello and welcome to the Content Marketing Podcast. This is the show where we help you grow your tribe and your bottom line through insanely good content. I'm your host, Rachel Parker of Resonance Content Marketing, and today is July 7th, 2016. Hello, or as we say in Texas, howdy, and thank you for joining us for today's episode of the Content Marketing Podcast. Just a reminder, this podcast is available on iTunes and Stitcher and SoundCloud and now Google Play Music. So if you like what you hear, please feel free to click on over and subscribe and get every single episode delivered directly to your happy little ears. I also invite you to subscribe to our weekly tip emails. Every Friday, we send out a quick content marketing tip plus links to our weekly video and the weekly blog post as well as the podcast. To subscribe, just go to resonancetips.com. Okay, before we get started, update on the book. If the next episode of this podcast is broadcast from a mental hospital, you will know why. This is driving me crazy. People warned me. They said writing the book is the easy part. Getting all the pieces put together to get it published will just drive you up the wall. It's coming. And I know I told you last week I would have a landing page and a pre-order system this week. Not quite. Okay, we are still in the process, but hang tight. I am so excited to share it with you. I know you're going to love it, so just hang tight with me. I promise in the next week or two we will have all this done. And if not, you're going to find me, playing with crayons in a padded cell somewhere because this is ridiculous. This has got to get done. So hang tight. Book is coming. Okay, last week we wrapped up our month-long focus on healthcare by talking about a key requirement for any healthcare content marketer, and that is how to successfully work with doctors. Now, if you happen to miss that episode, feel free to check it out on iTunes or Stitcher or our various other locations on the web. And this month, starting a brand new month today, we are going to be talking about the mid-year review. Yes, 2016 is halfway over, and it's time for us to pull out that strategy and figure out what we're going to tweak and how we're going to achieve those goals for the rest of the year. So today, we are talking about checking up on your competitors. And we're going to share 5 tools to help you do that. But first, it's time to check in with our news feed for this week's rundown of news you can use. First up on the news feed, we have some news, and I'm doing air quotes as I say news because Facebook has announced a change to its news feed algorithm. It announced upcoming changes to the news feed ranking that favor updates from your friends and family, but, and quoting here, may cause reach and referral traffic to decline for some pages, depending on the sharing habits of their unique audiences. Okay, this is my shocked face. Can you see that? Seriously, hasn't Facebook always given preference to posts from friends and family? Isn't that why we go to Facebook? A lot of marketers are panicking over this, but this has always been the case. And if they're going to make it more so, then that's something. But I just don't see a huge reason to panic here. Facebook does recommend that page owners simply continue to post things that their audience are likely to share with their friends so that post shows up as coming from a friend rather than from a brand. So I'm just putting it out there. There you have it. Whatever that might look like for your brand, that content that is more likely to be shared, that is what Facebook recommends you do to adapt to this algorithm change. Okay, some news out of Twitter. Now, as we talked about, Twitter's been pretty active the last couple of months. I think they are worried about losing relevance, especially when Facebook is just offering new features left and right. And I think they are. They've got a lot of exciting things going on. Twitter has announced Twitter Dashboard, which is, quoting here, a powerful tool designed to help businesses connect with their customers and community. Don't you love these press releases? All these words to say absolutely nothing. It's like businesses connect with customers and community. That's kind of what Twitter does. Anyway, I digress. According to Twitter's company blog, this free tool offers a single destination where business owners can get a clear picture of what's being said about their businesses, lets them schedule tweets, and offers insights about their Twitter performance. So basically, it's an analytics dashboard. Okay, I don't know why we can't just call it that, but it is currently available only to U.S. businesses. It's available as an iOS app, so for iPhone and iPad, and also on the web, so you can check it out at dashboard.twitter.com. Now, I checked it out last night. I downloaded it to my iPhone, and gave it a very briefest glance, and it looks interesting, but I need to play around with it a little bit more, so I will definitely let you know how that goes. Okay, our content hit of the week is a post called How to Turn Undervalued Content into Content Marketing Gold. This is written by Joshua Knight, that's N-I-T-E, on the Top Rank Marketing blog. And I thought this was interesting because we talk a lot about repurposing on this podcast. And the question always comes, okay, repurposing, yes, I get it. How do we do that? How do we know what to repurpose and actually, what do we do with it? What do we do with this thing that we want to repurpose? Well, in this post, Joshua shares 5 solid strategies, and it's kind of cute because he compares it to the TV show Antiques Roadshow, how people dig stuff up out of their attic that might be worth something. And so he talks about strategies for going through the attic, quote unquote, that is your existing content and spinning it into fresh content marketing gold. It is a very good read, and I will share the link in the blog post for this episode. Okay, that's it for this week's newsfeed. If you stumble across something you think might be of interest to your fellow content marketers, please tweet it to me at @ResonanceCONT, that's Resonance Content with the ENT lopped off, so that we can share. Now it's time for this week's Spotlight segment, 5 tools for spying on your competitors. As I mentioned, all this month we are going to be talking about the mid-year review. Yes, the bad news is 2016 is halfway over. Don't ask me where it went. I have no idea. But the good news is we still have 6 whole months to achieve those goals that we set for ourselves back in January. So all this month we're going to be talking about what we can do to kind of freshen things up, take a fresh look at that strategy, and make sure that we are hitting on all cylinders as we get ready to motor on towards those goals. So remember back when we talked about putting together a strategy, one of the things we look at is the competitive environment. Who are the competitors? What are they doing? What are their strengths and weaknesses? Well, that environment can actually change over time. New competitors can come on the scene. Older competitors can kind of fade away. And that whole power structure, or the influence structure, if you will, can move and can be very fluid and can shift around. So even in the course of 6 months, things can change quite a bit. So we need to keep our eyes and ears open for those changes and make sure that our strategy takes those changes into account so that we can be as effective as we can. And yes, I use the term spying a little bit in jest, but that's kind of what we're doing, seeing what our competitors are up to and the kind of results that they're getting. Now, the good thing about content marketing is that content for the most part is out there. So if we want to know what our competitors are doing, we can go to their websites, see what's on their blog, see, oh wow, they started a podcast. We can see what they're doing on video. We can even subscribe to their emails and see what they're doing on that front. It's all pretty much out there and available for us to take advantage of. So, the most basic tool is your computer. Just go see what your competitors are up to. But today I'm sharing 5 tools that can let you dig a little bit deeper and maybe make that research a little bit more efficient. Now I'm going to talk about, like I said, 5 tools here. Some are paid, some are kind of a freemium platform. Some you have a basic free membership, and then if you want certain features, you can see about upgrading. But all of them offer some kind of free trial. So what I encourage you to do, check them out, take them for a test drive, see what's going to work for you, and see what your team is comfortable using on a regular basis, because we are going to be checking in with these competitors as part of our strategy. The first tool I want to talk about is BuzzSumo, BuzzSumo. And that's a wonderful tool. I actually have the pro version. And what you can do is you can enter a keyword or a competitor URL, and BuzzSumo will return a list of the top content by share count and by links. So it can not only tell you, okay, here's everything that your competitor X has published about blogging, but it can also rank it by saying, okay, this is the one that got the most tweets, this is the one that got the most shares. So you can see what they're doing and some of the results that they're getting, and that can actually not only to see what the competitor's doing, that can also kind of spark some ideas on our end. It's like, oh wow, they got a lot of traffic when they blogged about this topic. Maybe that's something that we can talk about doing as well. So that's tool number one, BuzzSumo at buzzsumo.com. The second tool is called Social Mention. Social, and mention is MENTION, socialmention.com. And this is a tool for monitoring mentions, hence the clever name. What you do is you enter a search term. It can be a keyword or a company name, and the tool will tell you what's being said across different blogs and social platforms. So if your competitor has a product and you want to see who else talking about that product, you can enter that in Social Mention and see what else going on, what those mentions look like. You can also see how many times and how often it's mentioned, and you can even subscribe to an RSS feed for that term. So if you want to enter that RSS feed into your whatever reader you use, you can keep up without having to go back and forth. And Social Mention is a pretty cool tool that can show you what other search terms are involved when people are looking at that. It's really pretty robust, so I recommend you check it out, socialmention.com. The third tool I want to talk about is Alexa, Alexa. You may be familiar with Alexa ranking. That's kind of the gold standard for ranking websites. You may hear a website has an 8.1 Alexa ranking, which is really, really high. So that's kind of the overall health, the desirability, the amount of traffic that it gets, et cetera, et cetera. Well, Alexa also offers an analytics tool that measures traffic stats, including views, bounce rates, and all sorts of other tidbits. So if you really want to look at websites, now it doesn't incorporate social media, but if you really want to look at your competitor's website and what is working for them, what they are doing well, which websites are not performing so well, and really dig deep into that website aspect of content marketing, Alexa is the tool for you, and that website is alexa.com. Tool number 4 is good old-fashioned Google Alerts. So as I mentioned, the best way to keep up with our competitors is going to their websites, but we can also look for when those competitors are being mentioned in the news or when they're being highlighted on other blogs. And the simple way to do that is to set up a Google alert. Now, if you're not familiar with Google Alerts, get familiar very, very quickly. They are a wonderful tool. It's absolutely free. Google offers it, and you go to this page, and I think it's alerts.google.com. If I'm not mistaken, please do check it out. The best way to do it is to go to Google, type in alerts, and you type in a search term, and you specify how often you want to be notified when this term comes up, and then Google will send you an email. It will send you an email to say, hey, these 5 blog posts or these 5 articles or these 5 new pieces of content on the web mentioned this keyword. So that's another good way to keep up with your competitors, where people are talking about them, they're being mentioned, they may be interviewed on podcasts or featured on other blogs. Another good way to keep up with them, Google Alerts. And the 5th and final tool that I want to talk about is called SpyFu. Nothing like truth in advertising, right? It's a tool to let you spy on your competitors. That's what it's designed for. So what you do is you enter your competitor's website and you can find out which keywords they're ranking for and also where their backlinks are coming from. So it's more of a website directed kind of tool, but it can really provide some really quality insights when in terms of the keywords that you might need to start adding to your bag of tricks. And that website is spyfu.com, spyfu.com. So instead of kung fu, it's spyfu. Isn't that cute? So that is a quick rundown of 5 tools for spying on your competition. There are, of course, many others. In fact, if you have one to recommend, I would love to hear from you. Just shoot me an email, rachel@resonancecontent.com. Always up for learning about new tools. But, which one or which ones you choose depends on your needs and also your budget. As I mentioned, most of these are freemium model, and to get the features you want, you may have to fork over some cash. So what I recommend that you do is check them out. All of them have free trial opportunities, and just see what works best for you and see which ones your team is most comfortable using. So that is my take on tools for spying on your competition. Again, this is something we need to do. We need to see what's going on out there, what our competitors are doing to make sure that we are keeping pace as we motor on and go forward to achieve those goals for 2016. If you have any questions or want to add to the conversation, I would love to hear from you. And the best way to reach me is through the website resonancecontent.com. Now it's time for our content marketing tip of the week. Part of this mid-year review that we're talking about is not only the what, what we're doing, what topics are we covering, what are we doing on our blog, et cetera, but it's also the who and the how. So this is a great time, this midpoint of the year, to look at your team's workflows and how you are getting that day-to-day, week-to-week work accomplished. So if you can, sit down and brainstorm with your team. Just say, okay, we're going to talk about processes. We're going to talk about task assignments. And, there might be some glitches that have arisen that I know whenever a glitch arises for me, I kind of work around it rather than address it head on because I want to get stuff done. And that tends to happen in a lot of teams. We want to get work done. If this, if this aspect of the process isn't working well, we tend to kind of patch it up and see what we can do about it, and instead of addressing it head on. So this is the time to address those issues head on. Also, see how the current distribution of labor is working. If everyone is happy with what they're doing, if everybody feels that the work is distributed evenly. And then also look at how those current processes are working. Because if we're going to go full speed ahead and reach those goals by the end of this year, we need to make sure all our systems support that. And if there's a wrench in the works, now is the time to work it out. Okay, campers, that's it for me today. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Content Marketing Podcast. If you like what you've heard, please feel free to subscribe on iTunes or Stitcher or Google Play Music or via our RSS feed. And if you really like what you've heard, please leave us a quick review on iTunes. I would so appreciate it. Also, remember to sign up for our Tip of the Week emails at resonancetips.com. As you know, I like to leave you with a quote every week, and today's comes from the late, great Zig Ziglar. He once said, quote, "Don't be distracted by criticism. Remember, the only taste of success some people get is to take a bite out of you." Unquote. Again, this is Rachel Parker with Resonance Content Marketing. Thank you again for listening, and we will see you again next week. Take care.